Like, he rarely plays solo queue. He doesn't think it, I've heard from people that he doesn't think it's worthwhile. He doesn't really subscribe to that. And so how is that affecting Shai's champion pool in practice? Because what is he doing these days? He's going back to Shen and Shyvana, champions that he has played for years.
Yeah.
But we don't see new picks out of Shai very often.
I mean, it would be really nice to see him on, things that like a lot of these carry top laners are playing. Meanwhile, we have Coco, who's completely the opposite.
Yeah, a lot of new picks. And Coco's Azir. Coco's now my favorite Azir player to watch because he's so bold. We see these highly mechanical plays where he goes in to initiate for his team. Space just playing Sivir and Corki, pretty standard stuff in the last few weeks here in Korea. Mad Life gets a lot of bans against him. We saw bans in the last series that he played.
And he's been pulling out that Bard lately, so different, new pick. A little bit different than what we're used to seeing from Mad Life, which is a lot of engage-heavy supports. But, I mean, he's been making it work. He's been playing well.
I am very curious about Helper because this really does change the dynamic of CJ.
Yeah.
They have been pretty much just running those tank tops forever now. So you kind of know what you're going to get when you draft against them. So how is this going to disrupt the planning of this team right here, the Jinair Green Wings?
Yeah, and we have Gank by Mom and Captain Jack along with, I think, Che playing today. So no Kuzan, no Pilot.
No Pilot. We haven't seen Pilot in a while. Captain Jack and Che has been the default lane for the last several weeks, and it's done really well. You can't argue with the numbers. Jack is the main carry force on this team. He's number 5 in overall KDA at 6.6. He's number 2 just behind Faker at 399 GPM. So this is a team that really needs Captain Jack to do well to win. It's a very AD carry focused team. They don't put so many resources into the top lane. GBM is a very passive mid lane player. He doesn't die very often. He's number 3 actually in KDA at 6.8. So, but he's also not the guy who's going to roam. And for me, you know what, Barry? I'm actually wondering if Kuzan, even though he's a rookie, is actually the better fit for Jinair because they need another big, aggressive carry threat. And GBM and Kuzan are very different. Kuzan is a heavy roamer. GBM will sit there, farm, be very defensive, ungankable, but he's not going to take the risks.
Yeah.
And I look at a player like GBM and I'm like, this is the perfect player for Najin.
Yeah.
It's the perfect player for Najin where you never have to gank mid lane. You can focus on Duke and OQ. But is he the greatest pick for this particular team? He did fine against CJ in the last match. 2 victor games, did very well kiting out, doing the damage. Skilled player. I'm just wondering about stylistic fit.
Yeah. I mean, it also would be nice to see maybe Trace on picks other than Rumble every now and then. But, I mean, you can't argue the results. He's been playing very, very well on them.
Yeah, and Jinair is a little bit unique in the way that they draw so many weird, like, pocket bans, like the Nidalee, that really aren't a threat for a lot of other teams, that Tracer pretty much just gets Rumble or Maokai every game.
Yeah. So he hasn't been forced to expand his champion pool. So, Tracer looking happy. Maybe he'll get Nidalee today. That's what his clap of excitement is about.
I don't think he's going to get Nidalee. You're very optimistic.
You never know. You never know.
I think CJ is just like mentally scarred by his Nidalee in the last time they played. And remember, this was only 2 weeks ago where Jinair just rolled CJ.
Yeah. Well, we'll look into the CJ booth. We look at, Ambition's back. He's got a couple spears sticking out of him.
Yeah. Hunted down by Chaser.
So we got the coaches entering the booth for both teams. So that means we're about to get into picks and bans real soon. So a Nidalee ban, you expect. Maybe a Rumble ban. I don't know.
Yeah, and by the way, if you guys didn't see Game 2 of Jinair versus SKT from last week, that was a great game.
Yeah.
And Jinair, they showed how strong they can be. They made one slip up and SKT came back in a miracle turnaround, but Jinair was dominant in Game 2 up until just seconds before the end, really. And Annie, not going to be used by Che. That has been one of Che's better champions, and I think we're going to see that more as a blue side ban, already starting tonight. Last week we saw it start to trend as a red side first round draft pick, and now that means, of course, you're going to take that away on the blue side.
So they don't want Che on that on that hard engage support. I mean, he was kind of the original Annie player this year in Champions.
Yes, he was. Even when Annie wasn't so meta, he was still doing quite well on it. Rek'Sai, not going to be available for Chaser. That is probably his strongest meta jungler. He's definitely more of a Rek'Sai player than he is a Gragas player.
Then we have the Azir ban for Coco. Understandable.
Yes, I think that is wise. So no Ryze, no Alistar, no Gragas. Something's getting through here.
I mean, if Helper's such a carry-oriented top laner, letting the Ryze through might be problematic. But now it really depends on what CJ does, and they're gonna go for the Victor ban.
Yeah, GBM would have no problem just scooping that up in the first round of the draft.
Ambition does play Nidalee though.
It's true. Ambition does play Nidalee, but is Ambition going to first pick Nidalee? That's my question.
I feel like you're forced to in this.
There's Alistar still available. So it's a tough decision.
They're really thinking about this one.
You have to imagine the Chaser's going to take Nidalee.
Well, there's just so many good picks, at least for this specific matchup. You have the Alistar, you have the Ryze still up, you have, this is still 5.11 guys. Like, Ryze is still strong as ever.
Yes.
Once he gets rolling, and if Helper's that kind of a...
But, this could be such a bait. So here's what I'm thinking. You ready?
Yeah.
If they take the Ryze, I think you take not the Ryze. Take the Rumble. Because if they take Ryze, what Jinair can do is respond with Maokai Nidalee and just kill Ryze over and over and over again in the laning phase. Really dangerous combination to give up. And I feel like if CJ takes his Ryze, they're getting baited.
And they're going to take it. Oh, no.
Sivir. Okay.
Another first pick worthy champion these days.
Yeah.
But now, then you have the problem of Jinair getting Ryze and Nidalee, right? If that as a possibility.
But with Jinair, I don't think they're going to take the Ryze because they don't focus enough farm onto Trace to really make that Ryze good. If we think about why Trace picks Rumble and Maokai, it's because he does well with them with relatively low amounts of farm. You don't see a lot of resources going Trace's way on this team. It gets all taken by Captain Jack.
Yeah.
So I'd go for champions that have less reliance on items, and I think that's why the Ryze is just not so good if you're going to be Jinair.
So then maybe the Nautilus flex pick here for Jinair. Look, Nautilus and Cassiopeia. So we'll see if they lock this in.
So where's Coco going to go now? Ever since the Jace buffs landed, we haven't seen the Jace come out of Coco. And we know that it's a flex pick because Helper plays it a lot in solo queue.
So I'm of two minds of that of the Jace changes. It definitely was a buff to his late game, but in his mid game, it's still like he hits a bit of a trough in the mid game because of the way they adjusted his numbers.
Yeah.
So maybe he's not comfortable on it yet with those changes, but they're gonna lock in Rumble and Evelynn.
So no Rek'Sai with the Tremor Sense to deal with the Evelynn.
I would love to see a Skarner. Oh, they're doing it. GBM, he's just trolling Cloud Templar.
The old Templar troll.
Now he just needs to hover. Oh, Zinja? He should hover a Moo if he really wants to troll. Think about you have two former CJ players on Jinair within Captain Jack and GBM.
Yes, you do. Their revenge was quite sweet last time these teams went head-to-head. So, are they really going to save the jungle pick until last? Could go for the Shen. I think you take Maokai and just take Maokai Corki here, or Corki Nidalee, and then take Maokai in the last part of the draft. Okay, Maokai. Okay. So they're saving the Nidalee pick. So we are going to see that Maokai. I think what again, the Maokai Nidalee combination is strong against Rumbles also. Get those kills if he does gank for Trace.
Now, is Coco going to make a return onto this Echo? He played it once, he didn't win with it.
But he was good on it.
He was good on it.
That was not him. And in fact, he played it in the match against Jinair.
Yeah.
But that was a problem with his top lane and his jungle not flanking. And that's what gives me pause here. They played Evelynn in game 1 against Jinair. Ambition never got a flank. Ever. They were able to kite so easily, Jinair. And if they take this Ryze, the Nidalee is definitely going to be coming in.
Well,
Could be that mid lane rise, of course.
Yeah.
Faker played it.
be the Faker special. But it seems likely at this point. And it will be the Ryzen Alistar.
So Alistar falling surprisingly far down the draft. They get a strong lane, so
Well, I'm not too opposed to this Rise pick because Rise is just so easy to gank for, right? He has that Rune Prison, he has that snare, and you have Evelyn who does a lot of early game damage, right? So if you can get the right angle to go in on this Cassiopeia and just really mess her up.
I don't know. I don't think I'd take the 2v2 against Nidalee Cassiopeia if I'm Evelyn Rise. I think that is a pretty dangerous proposition to make in terms of the early game. It can be turned around on you so easily with a Nidalee Spear. So I think it's a bit dangerous. Chaser should be playing the top side of the map. I'm curious if CJ is going to lane swap because that could actually solve a lot of their problems. Helper, this is definitely a trial by fire in his first professional game to go up against a Maokai Nidalee lane as Rumble. He is going to have to be on point in terms of his wave control to make sure that he doesn't get pushed up because that is one of the easiest lanes to gank in the history of League of Legends.
I mean, this could also be a pick on the new guy kind of thing here,
Yep.
so we'll see.
Yeah, it's risky. We'll see how it actually ends up going.
I mean, I really like CJ's team fighting though. Like if they get a good if Ambition can actually flank on Evelyn, then they'll have a pretty good team fight. They have a lot of good AoE. They have good mobility.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what I thought last time these two teams played, Barry, but the execution just wasn't there. Maybe it'll be there tonight. CJ versus Jinair, game one, let's go. Get it together, Jinair fans.
You need to be louder than that if you want to hang in the fan clubs.
All right, so CJ going with the Rise mid. Definitely not a bad pickup here, and at least they have Mad Life on Alistar, so they're not entirely reliant on Ambition to engage. Mad Life can provide that for the team. Jinair running a solid composition, I feel. They have a very smooth power curve. Of course, Corki in the early game with Cassiopeia and Maokai coming online just a little bit later. So they're not going to be in too much trouble. Same thing with CJ, though. You've got that Rumble for the early game, and you're just kind of transitioning into the Rise. So both these team compositions are nicely balanced. The question comes down to execution and a dangerous laning phase. Chaser, again, 2 weeks ago, absolutely wrecked CJ.
Yeah.
On this champion that they let him have again. So can he do something with it? They definitely wanted him to play it. They waited in the draft until the last pick to grab their jungler. A bit unorthodox, but you can say Chaser is the team that this team revolves around. This entire season, he has been at #1 kill contribution at 81.2%. He is everywhere on this map.
Pretty good. I mean, looks like Jinair is trying to call the lane swap, I think, to some degree. But, or maybe they're the ones initiating it. Who knows?
Well, I think they want the lane swap here because I wouldn't want a 1v1 with that Maokai. That looks like a delicious hamburger.
Yum yum. Well, so we got Freeze going. It's going to push back in towards the side of Jinair.
Yep, and now we're going to see Mad Life walking up. In contrast to our last game, this is why you started a buff when you are juggling on your weak side, because then you do not get disrupted quite as easily.
Well, a lot of movement on the map. I see Che in the blue side jungle. Kind of, oh god.
Oh, he's fine. He's going to see Ambition right here. He's going to hide. Chaser's come. Oh, boy.
Yeah, that wasn't an oh god for Jinair. That was an oh god for CJ.
Yeah, Che only level 1, though. He's only got that E, but there we
Oh,
go. There's the
dear.
stun Ambition. Ooh, they're not going to follow that up, but Chaser is going to steal the blue buff and just hop his way to
Corki's
potential
coming down.
safety. Corki's here, and they went in on the weak side. That is problematic. Mad Life going to save the day, but they take a lot of damage. They lose their blue buff. Mad Life with a good recall timing just to make that work, but dangerous play to keep contesting against a Nautilus. Even though Nautilus was only level 1, still has 2 forms of CC at level 1.
I mean, this is something I've been seeing with CJ. You know, it raises some questions. What's going on with their level 1s? They're being aggressed on every time. Or do they just not have the right wards? Are they not like expecting the right moves to be made? Or are they just letting... It seems like they're just allowing teams to walk over them with their level 1 strategies.
Yeah, and you saw it right there. I mean, it was a good play from Che to get in and be patient. Now, the freeze is going to be broken as a result because Mad Life gets into the top side to help out before Che can heal up and return. Of course, Mad Life at 100% HP. After that, Chaser using the old leash mechanics. Chaser, I don't know if he can do this.
Leisha is only 3 times the range champion now, but he got it.
He got it.
He knows his limits.
He definitely does. So pink ward goes in for Che after he returns into the top. And this is a helper that is overextended, but he knows he can just wait for the wave to go back his direction.
Right.
Oh, actually not. It's going to freeze closer to Jinair's turret. So that wasn't broken as well as it could have been. So he's going to be actually zoned out for quite a while right now. Che going to decide to recall, potentially.
Recalls all around, even GBM going back after Coco.
Yeah, but both these champions going for early tiers, so I want to get that right in the 4 to 5 minute range. They can start stacking immediately. As you can see, there's our carry rating for the jungle. There's Chaser's league-leading kill assist percentage. Ambition here, he might try and take this. Oh, he gets seen. So Ambition is actually going to get the grab. Chaser backing off. Hurls a spear that doesn't find its mark.
Slow early game.
Slow early game, but 3 buffs for Jinair early.
So Helper's going to pick up this big wave. Level 2 to level 4, now level 3. Surely he'll hit level 4 fairly soon. Yeah,
large wave crashing into the turret. Same thing going to happen in the bottom side with Maokai. Chaser and Che down just to make sure that there's not going to be any dives or shenanigans happening on that side of the map. And so...
mid lane very even.
Yeah, Trace getting a lot more of that farm so far. So starting out, pulling away with a really nice CS advantage and a level advantage to go with it.
So what team composition here do you like better? If they go into more mid-game, like 5v5s,
well,
who would you give it to?
I think GBM is just going to come online faster as the Cassiopeia. You can't ignore the rise in the late game, but it's just a matter of getting there. And again, I think both these compositions are pretty equal. I mean, we've got 2 junglers. They're going to fall off as the game progresses in terms of their effectiveness. On the one side, you have one that's better at kiting, the other one that's better at engaging with Evelynn. But I think I'd tip it maybe slightly to Jinair.
Okay.
Because oh, nice boomerang blade. You're measuring it at that point in terms of whether Captain Jack falling off is worse than Rumble falling off. But Maokai is just so strong in this meta. Nice job by Ambition. Second crab stolen.
Now, is he looking for a fight? Good damage.
GBM just playing back in the wave right now.
I wonder if it would have been worth it for Coco to go in for the big chain snares, because Chaser had been chased out.
Yeah, maybe if he really wanted to flash, but again, it's just movement summoners from
and he also has
Coco
cleanse.
this game, so may not have been the safest choice, even if it was very bold and aggressive. And Chaser actually going for a tier before his Magus enchant.
He likes to do this, I think.
Yeah, there's been I think it depends on the situation. Some junglers, we used to see Eve go tier before even getting like a Trailblazer or something like that, just machete straight into tier. And that results in about a fully stacked tier by 18 minutes. This build will be a couple minutes later, obviously, maybe like 20, 21 minutes. So just starting to stack, and this means that Chaser's going to hit a power spike with the Mage's Enchant and the Seraph's Embrace faster.
Okay. We'll see if Coco is able to get his blue buff.
Yeah.
Because Jinair already has the exact timer on that.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too much of an issue, I think. An invade at this stage may be a bit overbold because remember, Ambition actually has combat stats in the form of those 2 longswords. So unless they get some really nice poke, and they don't have the Death Ray this time to couple with the Nidalee Spear, this time they have to use that Cassiopeia, who's a little bit closer range compared to the last match we saw between these 2 teams.
So Jinair starting to invest a little bit more into the top side of the map.
Yeah, it was tough when they lost that Scuttle Crab in top because that really gives Helper an advantage because he has to be able to push up.
It looks like they might try to contest this blue. No, he's got it.
They're just taking a look, seeing if maybe there was a chance that something could get done, but a little bit too risky there, especially since the Equalizer exists for Helper to use. See, Trace has already gone back, picked up the Catalyst, and then returned to the turret, but he's not able to clear out the wave very quickly. Helper also still has TP. That is a major factor. Helper's been playing very defensively, so he hasn't been poked out, hasn't had to go back to base yet.
That Doran Shield has been doing work for him, too, in terms of the regen that it gives. And
uh-oh, Jack actually is going to Valk out right there. Equalizer comes in, flash off the Equalizer, no follow-up. Ambition used the Agony's Embrace, but couldn't lock down the kill. Really hard to get a kill in that lane.
yeah. But 2 Ultra Flash, not terrible, especially if you know Dragon's not in trouble, so.
Yeah, don't have to play that side of the map. And that'll mean Corki goes home and we return to standard lanes. What can Trace do against Helper at the top side? Helper is going to recall after pushing up the wave and pick up some items. So everyone's starting to recall right now as the lane swaps come through. Jinair actually has a dragon timing here if they want it.
Yeah.
Coco does a really good job of pushing the wave, though,
Yeah,
to prevent that from going down. But Nidalee does a lot of dragon damage in the game, and they just came back to lane with a Sheen Corki. They could have maybe snuck that one. A bit risky because Helper has TP, but
Now they're looking for a pick onto Mad Life or Coco, whoever comes first.
so basically they think they're doing dragon right now because Corki just walked into the river. So they tried to bait that a little bit.
But they have eyes on Chaser, so.
Yeah. Yeah, they're picking him furiously at the moment. They still had a ward about to time out of that brush. So that may have worked as Corki disappeared from the bottom lane. If Chaser had not been seen, they may have been, oops, right into the wall. But they may have been forced to face check that, and Shay could have potentially gotten a pick.
Well, Equalizer and TP back up. Meanwhile, Trace's TP is still down for a little bit longer. I would reckon another 20 seconds.
Yeah, and they just haven't used this TP advantage at all. Trace in the top side now with the favorable trades just by a little bit. And here comes Chaser. There's the twisted advance after the flash. Flash, spear, goodbye, Helper. And that is the danger right there of being a rumble or a rise against the Maokai and the Nidalee. Confidence from Chaser, flashing for the spear and then closing the gap with the pounce.
Well played. Well played indeed. And Ambition just wasn't in position to take a return, take a dragon in return, so he's just gonna go cover for the top lane. Unfortunate.
Yep, and he has to show on that top side. And there's the Scuttle Crab in favor of Jinair again. They don't really need the Scuttle Crab themselves against Evelynn, but it is very important if they want to follow up kills that they take the Scuttle Crab away to free up Chaser. That's like the weird thing about crabs with Evelynn, is that they're more denial than they are anything else.
We see a 10 CS lead for Gank My Mom in the mid lane over Coco.
Yeah, is that enough though? Coco's getting a lot of free farm.
Yeah, he's gonna have the Rod of Ages real soon too.
Yeah, that is It's going to be a pretty nice rod, considering that he hasn't been harassed too much or slowed down in terms of his farming. Chaser really hasn't done much in the mid lane, or even kind of denied vision all that effectively. Ambition wants the blue buff right now. Nice kill on the turret. Ooh. Chaser's coming into the bottom side, and the depth charge going to knock Space up at the end. Space has no mana. There's the hook. Mad Life with the ultimate. They're going to try and turn it. Ambition's there. Rise is coming, so Jinair backs off.
Well, a whole lot of skills traded with no kills.
Skills with no kills.
Oh, man.
That sounds like Korean League of Legends in a nutshell.
The skills that don't kill. Ambition looking for a smite steal, but is zoned out inadvertently by Che.
The inadvertent zoning. Yeah, Trace just building tanky. Actually gets Cowl before he's going to complete the glory.
I think he wants to be able to 1v1 the Rumble consistently, so.
Must be it. Jinair saying that they don't want a team fight. Really late first dragon in this game. Yeah. No one wanting to commit to it. And it makes sense. I mean, we've got tiers on both sides of the mid lane and a stacking rod of ages. The longer that this goes without Jinair actually putting pressure on a dragon, as soon as, especially after that, especially after that Abyssal Scepter is completed for GBM, the better it's going to be for CJ. Yeah. Because that's going to really slow Jinair down, make it harder for them to actually close out this game. CJ also has plenty of wards in the bottom side jungle.
Yeah, and Helper put down his ward just to make sure that he won't suffer another repeat gank.
Still risky.
Yeah.
Still risky. There's that possibility of a lane gank. I mean, when you're playing against a Rumble, you just have so many options to come in and gank as a jungler. It's easy to come in through the lane as long as your top lane has CC, and then follow that up. And Helper would have to spend a lot of money, really, to kind of ward in all the various dangerous places that he could. Still, that turret advantage goes over to CJ right now. The first blood and some additional farm, especially on that top lane where the farm gap is dramatically increasing.
Yeah, this Maokai is going to be terrifying in the late game. So, I don't know. Is this the sacrifice you want to make to get your Rise, to get your Rise into that later game status? You'd let the Maokai get into it. So
the positive for CJ is an Aegis is going to do so much work against Jinair.
True.
They're literally all magic damage except for Corki's autos. And Corki doesn't get usually that many autos off in a game of League of Legends. So any MR stacking late is going to be immensely beneficial to CJ.
We'll see if Ambition breaks his stubborn streak and actually builds it.
Yeah. If he goes Randuin's first this game, I might be upset.
Glacial Shroud.
Please no.
Frozen Heart.
Nope.
Against all the auto attackers.
You definitely don't build Frozen Heart on Evelyn. That is a terrible idea, Barry. Get into the back line and use the Randuins. Lock them up even longer.
It's not me that's doing it. It's Ambition right now.
Oh, man.
Why the Glacial Shroud? Like, mind blown right here. Maybe he wants to go for the Iceborne Gauntlet, which is still not a great buy.
I'm done here, Barry.
You're done?
I quit.
Well, meanwhile, we'll have the noodle fights here.
You're just gonna solo cast now.
Oh man, the joys. Oh, they don't really be Choba 2.0.
I have no idea why you would build a Frozen Heart in this situation.
Maybe he just wants the CDR and wants a little bit of armor and some of the mana to sustain, have longer team fights.
He doesn't need any armor.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm just grasping at straws here.
I can tell. I can tell. So much more efficient for him to have like a Ruby Crystal and a Null Magic Mantle at the current time, getting that. Wow, actually CJ gonna go for the dragon. They haven't pushed up, so not a bad call from CJ. No vision. That's gonna be dragon number 1 to CJ Entis.
Well done.
Yeah, good pressure on the bottom side. They've used this bottom lane matchup and the tower that they were able to get early. Now, Helper just gonna get out of dodge right now, smartly just sacrificing his farm. And Jinair is just going to try and trade a turret for it. They're going to get it.
He doesn't even sacrifice that much farm for it, too, with that equalizer. So, well played.
Yeah, very nice conservative play there from Helper. making sure that even though he continues to get denied just a tad in this top side, he's Rumble. It's not going to matter for another 10 minutes or so.
Yeah. I just realized we're watching the games. We're watching a game between two of the teams that are known for their passive or like more passive play style.
Yes.
I just realized.
Jinair,
I
in
should
particular, is a team that, well, Chaser does a lot of ganking early a lot of the time. That's one of the reasons why he has such a high kill participation. But
they do like to go for the later game kind of like
Jinair also
operation.
loves kiting.
Yeah.
Loves kiting.
They're good at it too.
Yeah, they're very good. All right, Jack has pushed up the wave that sacrificed the dragon. So when all is said and done and the dust settles, Jinair actually trades that dragon for 2 towers.
Yeah, it's a bit of a free tower. I think they could have maybe like put up a fight for it.
Helper should have recalled much earlier. He should have just dropped his equalizer, let them take the tower, and then gone to defend the wave. Or possibly not even use the equalizer and then used it
for the bottom wave?
For the bottom wave on the turret. That actually is a bit of a misplay from Helper. He let them get way too much for this.
Well, if CJ can get the tower here.
I don't know if they can.
No,
and I don't know if they can save their tier 2 if they trade it.
Well, his Helper's equalizer is back up really soon, so they'll at least have some time. And Rise is coming down to shore up that push.
They're going to go for this, actually, just using the ultimate from Rise to clear out. GBM's going to get some free time. He actually didn't have to roam down. He should have just put pressure on the tower. So some macro misplays, I think, from both sides.
Well, when the dust settles, it's a 2K gold lead for Jinair Green Wings.
Yeah, they're going to take the red buff, try and deny as much as they can while they have this control.
So, what is up with Ambition's build?
I don't know. I don't know anymore, Barry. I give up on Ambition's builds.
Watch him just go for the Warmog, like the Glacial Shroud into the Warmog's Rush right here.
No. No, Barry. I forbid it.
You forbid it? You should get in that booth. Tell him, I can't stand for this. All right, Coco gets the blue buff, as he rightly should. Right of all mid laners, the blue buff and the pursuit of happiness.
Is that what's written in the mid laner constitution?
Yes. When they won their freedom from the jungle.
You know, it was really the jungle winning its freedom for the mid laners. The oppressive mid laners in Season 2 that were always wandering in and taking your camps.
Yeah, and we still occasionally see that these days as well.
It hurts me so much, Barry.
Oh, man. So if the regions of Summer's Rift were like countries in the world, the jungle would be the US of A, because they have the most freedom to move around. They were liberated. They were
liberated
from the empire of the mid lane.
Who also likes to roam. It's a very imperialistic, so they're like Britain, you know, back in the day. They like to imperialize the jungle and other lanes.
And then, meanwhile, I guess, I don't know, what would top lane be? France? Because they always just concede their farm and run away from the turrets?
That's right. They have to play very, very passively.
Ooh.
Well, way to insult all the French people. Fortunately, they're watching the French stream of Champions. Barry,
On
so
no gaming, I guess.
You don't have to worry about that.
Okay. Well, nothing happened during that time.
Nope, they're trying to use Corki right now with his Trinity Force.
So we have the Righteous Glory online for Maokai. We have
Seraph's done. I mean, Jinair's in a good place to fight, for sure.
Yeah, and looks like Ambition is actually going, possibly, fingers crossed, for that Aegis of the Legion.
I really hope he is. You know what else that could be is a Spirit Visage.
Yeah, or a Banshee's Veil.
Yep. Well, Seraph's is done now. 22 minutes for Coco. Nice quick stack on that. GBM going for the Rylai's. I'm getting worried. You know why I'm getting worried?
Why?
There's not a lot of damage here from Jinair. It looks like Jack is going for a Bloodthirster as his next item, which is okay because there's not a mega tank on CJ yet where he really needs the Blade of the Ruined King to chew through. But in the late game, once Evelynn and Rise get tankier, that could be a problem, but it won't be quite yet. Instead, it's going to be pretty safe.
Not to mention the Alistar that's going to be in his face with the Unbreakable Wall as well.
Yeah.
So.
So we'll see how it goes. But this is this is such a Jinair way to play this composition.
Yeah.
Use GBM to get big slow fields, kite out the game, have Captain Jack be very safe in the back line with a lot of lifesteal tanking and a big shield on him from the Bloodthirster. But it's about the execution, and CJ has the priority placement around this dragon at the moment.
So we'll see if a big fight breaks out within the next minute or so, because Dragon will be up in 10 seconds. Trace looking for maybe a flank, putting himself in position.
Trace is pretty scary right now, actually.
Yeah. He's got some armor.
Helper's not here. There's just a poke, and they're going to go for it. Trace pops the glory, finds Ambition immediately. There is the depth charge on Ambition, knocking him everybody up. Mad Life in the middle with the Unbreakable Will. Punts. They support Jay back into the enemy team. Helper with the TP. Helper coming through. Chaser low. Helper overextends. Trace with the peel. And that is the threat that Jinair has. You go into the team like that, that's what they want.
That was not the best equalizer.
Yeah.
It looked like it may have been a decent one as Jinair kind of funneled into that choke. But I think it would have been better placed by just cutting off that choke.
Yeah, and if your Helper, flashing into that just plays into Jinair's hands, because after you flash, you've committed in the middle of them, and you are not going to catch up as Rumble when there is a Cassiopeia spamming Rylai's Twin Fangs on your face.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful, and it's a quirk of itemization here. Normally, that would be okay to do, right? Because you're going to get that damage down, but he also just wasn't there with the backup from the rest of your team. And GBM doing a little bit of a quirky build here, I think may have baited CJ to overcommitting, and that results in a dragon for Jinair.
Yeah, and looking at Helper's build, it's a little more aggressive. It's a little more aggressive build than we see than usual from most Rumbles.
But it's a really good build here. You say it's aggressive, but all he needs is MR.
Yeah, true.
So it actually is probably the most efficient build he could go against this composition.
No doubt. We'll see if he decides to go into that Zonia's next, which I think he needs if he's going to make those flash plays like that.
Yeah, if he had a Zonia's, it would have been quite different. And Jinair doing Jinair things. And what I mean by that is it's 25 minutes into this game, and there are 4 upgraded ward totems.
Yeah.
This is how Jinair is the only team that does this, in Korea at least. The only team I know of in the world that prioritizes ward totems so heavily. Part of it, and they do this even when they have a Sightstone on the jungler. They basically just spam so many wards that you have zero hope of clearing them all out. And because they don't need to switch, the way they play the game is that it doesn't matter if you see what they're doing, because they are always on the objective first. They come to, and they get the position on the dragon, and it doesn't matter if you see them, because they're so good at kiting that if you engage, they still win the fight.
Yeah.
So it really plays in very nicely with Jinair's playstyle. I'm not sure if it would work for other teams, but they've really figured out something that is unique to them and how they like to play the game.
Yeah, and just vision in general is just so key for just all sorts of compositions anyway. So having this large amount of warding totems, even if they weren't, you know, a big kiting comp, I think it's still very valuable.
Sure, yeah. And let's see, CJ, they want to put the pressure on the mid lane. They have a pretty short-range siege here with Rise and Sivir. Yeah, they get a Chaser nowhere near. And Trace deciding not to TP in. He actually had some good opportunities for a flank, but without Chaser, not going to pull it off.
So I think the big thing here is how well is Helper going to kind of focus. If Helper can just, you know, if he can focus and buckle down, then I think he'll be able to, you know, make the right equalize, make the right plays that sets CJ up for the right team fights. But if he's just going to whiff his equalize and just flash into the middle of everyone, then we'll see. I think that's going to be the big deciding point of this in this game, at least.
Yeah, and he can be that primary engage with the equalizer, but the way it has to go is if he lands the equalizer, Ambition and Mad Life have to be in the front line, and he follows up. It can change, like you said earlier, once he gets the Zonias, which will be his next item. But going in deep early is not going to be a fruitful way to play Rumble into what Jinair has, because you cannot win walking forward while they have the Rylai's.
What do you think about a Rylai's on Rumble in this game?
Yeah, fine, good.
Yeah, it would help him chase. It would reduce their kiting.
As the game goes on, he doesn't need damage because Rise is going to be outputting most of the damage. So you really just want to be tanky and that slow would be excellent to have Rise follow up with the Sivir ult. I think that it would be a really good late game buy.
Well, we're back to Farm Wars.
Yes, we are. But Chaser's here. Ambition.
Chaser,
Sees all.
and he steals it away. That microtransaction was unsuccessful in this game of Farmville here.
Yeah, this game of Farmville, well, I'm sure. Who makes Farmville?
I don't know. Was it Zynga?
Yeah, yeah, something like that. Zynga, I don't know, whatever.
Whatever. Some come. Oh!
Oh, there's the flash, twisted advance.
He
Coco
lives.
looks like he might escape temporarily. Chaser gets the follow-up pounce after hitting him with another spirit. Chaser deep under the turret, pops his Seraphs.
Ooh.
Equalizer is dropped, but it is a stinker of an equalizer, and that means that space also falls. Helper.
Is this a Baron?
Not helping this game with these equalizers.
No, he is helping. He's helping the other team.
I'm Helper and I'm helping.
It would be only better if he was playing Jarvan this game.
Oh boy.
Oh, no.
That was a great engage from Trace
Oh,
and
yeah.
Chaser.
It was great.
Look
I
at
mean-
how big the heals from Chaser are at this point in the game. He's got so much AP, very decisive Baron taken by Jinair. I mean, this is 29 minutes into this game. There are only 5 kills, but Jinair gets their first Baron. This is where Jinair is strong, when they can control. Look at this. Just coming in off the twisted advance, Che just chaining it straight into a dredge line, and then a depth charge, and coming through. Now they have Chaser under the turret, but he's not tanking it critically. Trace is, and he gets out from the side. And did that equal? I don't even know what that
Yeah.
equalizer was supposed to do.
You know what Twitch chat would have said right then?
What?
NA equalizer right there. That's what it would be spammed right along right there.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was. If only we could see into the glory of Twitch chat at the moment.
Oh, man. I think there was a guy holding up a Kappa sign around here somewhere. You can ask him. But yeah, they're going to press their advantage. As well as they should.
Yeah, and I mean, the outer turret goes down at 30 minutes after a Baron. The amount of gold, because of how many turrets are still up, that Jinair is going to be able to get during this Baron is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
When you get into this point of the game where it's been a little bit of a back and forth and teams haven't been able to siege, when you get that Baron, you get the gold swing, and then with all the easy turrets in the outer ring and then some of these tier 2s going down, the change in economy is massive.
And the Dragon's up too, so once they get this, they can just move over to Dragon, get the second
huge
one.
Baron. 2 turrets already. 2 kills, 2 turrets, a Baron, and now a Dragon. Jinair is sitting pretty.
Very good for the Jinair Green Wings. And yeah. And GBM, I think he's going to go for the Liandry's Torment here to double down on his slow burn
Wow.
of the CJA team.
I mean, we know GBM has some wacky builds at times. This one's a little bit weird, but
Ooh.
I agree with the Rylai's. I think Rylai's is very strong.
The Rise is great. The Leandry's Torment before finishing his...
the Seraphs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. We'll see if he actually goes to Leandry's or if he finishes the Seraphs, but...
I'm not that opposed to Leandry's Torment if they're trying to run that kite comp that you were talking about, because it just dissuades them from just constantly chasing them if they're eating, you know, Cassiopeia like poisons in the face. But
Chaser, just these spear damage that he manages to get. I mean, sure, he's been farming up the storm this game. He has a lot of mana.
that tower shield is helping a lot though for CJ, thankfully.
Wasn't really helping Ambition earlier. They're trying desperately to defend this. Jinair trying to take their 3rd turret off of this Baron. Looks like they're
gonna back off.
that's smart. They have a mountain of gold right now to spend.
It's right about to wear off. So they get the Empowered Recall, one last one, and then
Nice.
now it's gone.
Very, very good coordination from Jinair around this Baron.
Such a smart team.
That is definitely true. The question is, can Jinair stay on form this season? Because
Yeah.
last season they started out strong and then they took a pretty drastic nosedive.
It was such a huge meta shift too.
Yeah.
It was a problem.
Chaser looks more comfortable in this meta though than he did towards the end of last season. And I still have questions about Jinair and Trace and, you know, what happens if they don't get Rumble or Maokai.
Yeah.
These questions have not been answered. I'm not sure why they haven't been answered. Why don't teams just force him to play something else? Because it's pretty obvious that he's going to pick one of those two champions.
Too many pocket bans that you have to take into consideration, I guess. Between the Chasers Nidalee, then you have, you know,
Annie,
Che,
against
Annie, yeah.
Yeah, it does become problematic, I agree. So now they just force all the waves in. They can probably just face tank this bottom turret.
There we go.
They're going to.
The support face tanks that even.
Well, he's got the Titan's Wrath shield, and there's such a small amount of HP on this. And they also have the heal from Che, which is doing a lot.
Yeah. We have that fully stacked here. We have a Void Staff. We have the Magus Enchant, and looks like maybe a Banshee's Veil too, so just to keep himself a little bit safer.
I'm not sure he's going to go for the Veil or if he wants actually an Age. Oh, the Age is already onto Che, so.
Yeah.
I am happy to see that Ambition completed his Locket before going for the Frozen Heart.
And he's still going for it regardless. I guess he just wants the lower CDR on his on the W and on the ultimate, so who knows?
The question is, where are the flanks? Again,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here wondering about Ambition's Evelyn. What he has done well is he's played around Chaser. Look how many camps he's stolen. He's been smart about the way that he plays around Chaser's jungling. But when it comes to team fighting, Ambition's Evelyn just doesn't seem to be there.
Yeah. You know, with the amount of, you know, camps that he's stolen away, he might have just well have bought a poacher's knife at this rate.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be the one time we see it.
The one time ever. Well, he's also been stealing away his own camps when
That's true.
Chaser's been in his jungle. So.
Well, bit of a lull. Lots of wards in the CJ side of the map.
Yeah, huge. Well, a huge lead. It's definitely not overcomable yet by CJ Entis, but they went for the Void Staff on Coco before getting even an Abyssal Scepter. I don't know. I mean, yes, he needs that magic penetration, but at the same time, he's not very durable.
Well,
he still has like 3,000 HP, whatever.
yeah. Between the Seraphs, the Seraph's Embrace Shield, and on top of the Rod of Ages, he's still fairly tanky. Such delicious farm. And Baron
Yep. Just
coming up in a minute.
Just taking the Crab Chaser with that sorcery elixir, trying to double down on the damage, as it were.
I love that elixir. It's so much fun to have. Because like, especially on poke champions, you get, you know, one spear, and you get that true damage, a little bit of true damage with your extra oomph on your
Oh,
ability.
they're going glory. I don't know if they want to do this. They may have realized there were 5 people right there.
Ambition can't flank. You know, I know we talk about like Ambition. Oh, he's not flanking. He's not doing it right. But like, he just physically can't with the amount of pink wards that are on this map. You'd have to go through a lane all the way around.
Ever since last season, Jinair has done a great job of providing flank wards. That's one of the reasons why they were so consistent in terms of these low kill games with poke or kite compositions, is because they like always have 5 pink wards on the map. So does make it challenging. Ambition on a secret mission. They know he's there.
And it's gone.
Yep, that's it. There's the Righteous Glory. They're coming for the engage right now. Flash hook onto Ambition. Che going to get quite hurt right there. Good equalizer into the choke point. Overextension by Che on the flash hook, and there's not sufficient follow-up. Trace and Che didn't really look like they were on the same page.
That Rylai's is doing a decent amount of work for GVM though, because the rest of CJ just had a hard time chasing because they were slowed down. Their ankles were just grabbed by that Rylai's on the poison from Cassiopeia.
Yeah, that said, CJ going to get this next dragon. Not really. Well, they could try and make a play just with some poke and see if they can secure the objective, but they're not. They're just going to clear out the mid wave instead and set up for when Che revives, because they already have all the side waves under control.
This is looking to be like a Jinair classic, where they go into the 50, 60, minute mark territory, and then we have no idea who's going to win.
No, we do have an idea who's going to win.
You think it's Jinair?
Because Jinair does this. They are the team that closes games that have like 5 kills in them. They did it so many times in the beginning of spring, where it would be 60 minutes, but basically, if you play a poke comp like this and you never give anyone a chance to get in on you because you control the entirety of vision, you just slowly whittle down your opponent. And there's very little counterplay. You know, we talked about Ambition, but you're absolutely right. Look how many pink wards were around that. How was he going to get in there?
Yeah.
Can't.
So what do you do if you're CJ? Like, you know, you see Jinair, they're going to take this turret. Jinair likes to play these poke comps, and they ward their flanks so well.
Yep, look at that. Pink ward already in place. Here, they have the Baron Empowered Wave. They're going to just keep it throwing in those skill shots.
So what do you do if you're CJ? Like, what type of comp do you run? Do you just run, you know, like a 3 Righteous Glories with a Talisman Ascension?
Yeah,
just
you take Annie yourself. You don't let them have Maokai.
Just bum rush them?
You have to just kind of bum rush them. They have Sivir and Alistar. I mean, they can still sort of do it.
Well, yeah, this Evelyn pick may not have been the best.
Oh,
and life try.
Oh, that really hurts. Missing that. Very damaging. And there we go.
That's
He's
probably
going
the
to tank
turret.
the turret right there. Are they going to come in for the engage? Drake's caught out a little bit. Has to W to a minion.
Good defense, actually.
Yeah, decent defense for sure. They held onto that turret. But, I mean, Chaser's heals are huge right now.
Oh, yeah.
So Trace already nearly back up there. And combined with this passive, not really a whole lot done. Now they get the tower. Very methodical. Moving forward, CJ not committing to that engage yet. They're not going to either. They let the inhibitor fall, and that's it.
There they go.
I'm the only one who likes Jinair when they play like this. I'm pretty sure I am the only person on Earth who enjoys Jinair's crazy, like, long poke games. I enjoy it because they're so methodical and they're so precise that, to me, I find it very interesting from a macro perspective how little opportunity an enemy has to get back into the game.
You know, as if I was a professional player, I would hate playing like this, even if we got all the wins in the world, because this is just so stressful if you're a pro player. Just think about it.
And you walk a very fine line, too, because if you get caught out, it's very punishing.
Yeah.
But this composition is more difficult to get caught out with because you do have the big tank line of Maokai and Nautilus.
Yeah. You know, I'm just a huge fan of Nautilus as a champion, whether he goes support, jungle, or top lane, because that E is just so spammable, and it just creates this huge slow zone that's just not readily appreciable sometimes. And when you just look at a comp, and it just creates such a nice zone. So, personally, huge fan of the pick.
Do you like zoners?
I love zoners. That's why I love playing Orianna,
I was going
Ziggs.
to say you like Orianna.
Yeah, I love playing Orianna, Ziggs, all these zone-type champions.
How about Anivia? You like getting
Oh,
people
yeah,
at the wall?
I love Anivia. I love any champion that has some sort of wall. Braum, Yasuo, I love all those champions. Just makes you feel so smart when you get a good one. And you know me.
Yes, I know. I know that you like deception.
I know. And dang.
All right.
Well, big bottom wave pushing in.
Are you ready?
I'm
Baron number 3, Barry.
My body is so ready.
So they're just pushing up a bit. They actually want to go top because they have that side wave developing. Helper bottled up, trying to deal with these super minions.
And another 1,000 gold for their team, so.
So, winning. I like how GBM doesn't even have a Void Staff yet.
Yeah, he doesn't need it.
Well, it's crazy, though, because CJ should be stacking a lot of this MR against this composition. And the fact that he doesn't need it because he is basically just a zone control Cassiopeia.
Chaser just does half of Space's health.
Yep. That's the thing. Who is actually carrying this team? Chaser is kind of doing more damage than GBM this game. GBM is just there to look scary Snake Lady and play utility.
Yeah. Create the nice zones.
That's not doing too much, but Ambition also has MR, so.
Well, see.
There we go. Bad Life goes, well, that only hit Jax, so not going to get much.
Well, Ambitions is trying to look for a flank, then saw the pink ward, then backed off.
Yeah, look at that. 2 pink ward, 3 pink ward. There is nowhere for Ambition to go. He would have to walk around the river and back down the lane in order, well, he could come through and go through Tribrush.
Yeah.
But you can see, he has to spend like 20 seconds walking around the map just to not be seen.
But if you manage to do that and you get the sweet, sweet flank, you deserve that flank. You deserve it.
Wow.
Mission impossible for Ambition right there.
mean ambition impossible?
Oh, man. It is quite the impossible ambition right now, so.
Okay.
Well, bottom inhibitor about to come up soon.
Not soon enough for this extra Baron and Dragon. Jinair hasn't had the best Dragon control, so they may just try and give this one up. Having a third Dragon is kind of irrelevant right now, especially when it's coming up at the same time as the Baron.
Trace has so much MR.
Yeah, he's doing all right. He's doing all right. Gonna get that Frozen Heart soon, too. Oh, hook
Dodge
misses. Mad Life
Life
goes in, and he gets the knockup, but that's about it. Trace going to pop his Righteous Glory. Everybody's slowed down pretty massively right now. Nothing really too committal about either engagement. And CJ just wants to push Mad Life flash forward for that, but how much is he going to get? Trace is there in the front line. He is so tanky, but he does die. The damage coming in from CJ. Jinair has to run. They can't really do this. Coco dodges the ultimate from Cassiopeia. Mad Life comes in for another combo, so they get one. And that is a long cooldown, but all the poke is still there for Jinair.
But they can get position on the Dragon or on the Baron.
Yeah, they can.
And they could probably do it with Trace down, because they can just turn on a dime back onto...
I don't know. Helper still has Equalizer. That's going to be quite useful if he can land a good one, but they still 40 seconds.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh, they have to deal with this. Unfortunately, the Super Minion has made it to the inhibitor to knock it down one more time.
And are they just going to give up this Baron?
Well, they have to, because otherwise they're going to get... okay, so they're clearing out wards. They don't see Ambition recalling. How low is that inhibitor right now? It's
down.
dead. It's dead. That's it. So inhibitor lost
Boom.
again. Ambition can't get there in time.
And Trace's death timer was super long, too.
Well, Jinair stalls it out. Now, they delayed the recalls there for the inhibitor. And maybe CJ should have just gone for it.
They're going to send... Yeah, they're going to send Helper there.
Yeah, Helper has the TP. Trace is here.
But he's got a home guard TP
Oh,
ready.
they lost a Nexus turret. Again, Captain Jack has no... Well, he has the Infinity Edge now, so at least he has some damage. That's actually better than Blade against the team that CJ has assembled.
If he's close enough to use Blade on a Rise, he's probably going to be dead anyway, so...
Spear just barely out of range. Well, this game can still really go either way. One fight will end this one, depending on who gets the better engaged. Mad Life showed up with it, but he wasn't able to hit quite enough people, and Trace is still weak when it comes to Sivir auto attacks. He only has the Glacial Shroud.
Yep.
So against Sivir, who has like the Blade and the Infinity Edge and the Last Whisper, Sivir can definitely kill Maokai pretty fast.
CJ gets the Dragon. They delay the 5 Dragon timer.
Looking for the pick. Who's going to come here? Maokai's coming in on a Mad Life there. The hook looks like it misses right there from Jay. Mad Life getting low, but he gets the big pulverize. Can he follow up? Chaser from the side, starting to poke with the spear. But again, Jinair doesn't have a lot of damage anymore. There's the hook onto Helper. They're going to zone him out. He's going to knock him down. Petrifying Gaze hits him, but he flashes in the last second. Coco in the front. Coco dead. And that should be a Jinair. Can they take a Baron now off of the kill onto Coco? Helper couldn't get the Zonias down because he was chain CC'd. GBM hit the right ultimate.
Oh, no. Well,
TP coming back in. Trace has home guards. There he is, zooming along into the bottom lane. Who can he get? Can he see Ambition? He does see Ambition. He can W. No, he can't. Decides not to follow that one up.
Waves aren't in Jinair's favor, so
well,
see what they have to do.
Yeah, they have to back off. They can just go for the Baron. They have to defend against the Super Minions. There's one turret left, and Helper has no TP.
This is Baron pick take 4.
That's right. So
they're actually going to do it.
Yeah, they can do it. They can do it fast. So Cassiopeia will be a little bit of a savior here as another Baron goes to the Jinair Green Wings. Can they finally finish this game?
We shall see, Monte Cristo. We shall see.
We shall see. Damage threat still huge from CJ.
And GBM just finishes Leandri's Torment. So he'll be shredding through.
That's actually a huge finish. in terms of their damage output, because that the Void Staff and the Leandry is being finished for GBM, actually.
He just has so much armor, magic penetration right now, so... Yeah, and I think he has every form of magic penetration possible right now in terms of item buys.
Yeah, he does, actually. Interesting.
Meanwhile, we have a Rabadon's Death Cap on Chaser.
I love Chaser's Diddly.
I'm surprised to see this over the Luden's Echo, to be honest.
He's a 6-item Nidalee right now. I think he just wants the single target damage, just a single target poke.
And maybe the utility with the heal as well.
Yeah, that is definitely quite helpful.
Oh, he accidentally popped his Seraph's Embrace right now.
Ooh.
He accidentally popped it, I think.
That would be pretty, yeah, he did actually. Yep. He did. GBM did.
Oh, GBM did, okay.
So not committing to this. They're still worried about that Alistair on the engage. And Chaser will be the... Nobody's going to clear out the pink ward, okay. Why would you? Got better things to do.
Push up waves, go for the next siege.
Only one pink ward this time for Jinair. They won't have that same coverage against the flank, but it looks like Avalanche is going to have to stay bottled up in the base for the time being.
Helper getting pretty close to his Void Staff as well. And then we have pretty much a 6-item Sivir right now, too.
So here we go. Siege once again. Coco going to need a spear, but...
He just heals it back up.
Yep, just instantly taking that out. But there's only one. Ambition is there. So are they going to go for it? Trace just righteous glorying forward. They have so much damage onto the tower. Another inhibitor going to go down. Jinair cracks the base because the Nexus turret went down earlier. The Winion's doing work for Jinair. And they've got another wave prepped right away to take into this mid lane. However, super minions have been cleared out. Inhibitor back up on the bottom side. They don't need to commit to taking this turret.
But they're going to take it anyway. They do so much damage.
Mad Life, this is the combo, and Mad Life has to go forward, blow the Unbreakable Will. So can't get the engage. He's looking for another wave right there following up. CJ has to come with a miracle engage right now. If they can win this fight, they can still win the game.
Yeah. Also, I'm loving the Elixir of Sorcery on Captain Jack because he just does that true damage to towers is so big right now on top of the poke. So it's just great buy.
Yes, it is. So there we go.
Ooh.
Definitely helping against the... Okay, they're going to go for it. Space uses on the hunt, but Jinair immediately kites out. And they get the tower. Another engagement only onto Che. More poke damage being taken. And look at that. Everybody falling down right now. Trace taking a huge amount of damage, but he's healing up well enough to get out as his ultimate popped.
Oh!
And there you go. The spear from Chaser on the retreat. Takes out Ambition. Whew, close call for Che and Trace.
No teleports for either side. They're just going to push this up and maybe... No, they're going to have to back off.
They have to back off. Helper CP's coming up right now. If he teleports behind them, that would be disastrous.
Teleport to what, though?
Oh, he can't. Yeah, you're right. No minions, no wards.
CJ's been cooped up in the base for so long.
A dark jungle. A dark and scary jungle for CJ Entis.
Never know where that cat's going to pounce out of with her spear.
Well, she doesn't have much mana, so... Okay, so now here we go again. Inhibitor number 3. There's some action going up on top lane. Trace actually takes a huge amount of damage. Trace is going to die. Uh-oh. This could be good for CJ. This could be the turnaround. There's the CC. Che also falls.
2 down.
Is this going to be the end here? They have to push up the super minions. They're going to get a dragon, which will put them at number 4.
Top lane wave is pushing into that next solo Nexus turret, so Helper needs to push this out. We'll see if...
I don't know. He's not going to be able to actually kill the wave in time. Uh-oh. That is huge.
Naked Nexus.
Yeah, the Naked Nexus. They have no control over the minion wave.
4 dragons.
Yeah, the 4 dragons. So this is the last hope, really, for CJ. It's not even much of one. It's still a glimmer.
They go for the 5 dragons. They go for a miracle. Well, they go for the miracle team fight, which leads them into the 5 dragons later on.
Well, they definitely still have a team composition that can pull it off. So I'm not sure how Trace ended up in the base right there. Looks like it was a miscommunication where he went in over the wall with the twisted advance. So that's going to set him further behind. Do you like 4 Barons taken by Jinair in one game?
Oh, my Lord. the mad world of Jinair.
Well, the thing about CJ is diving them is extremely difficult because getting into range of Rise is exactly what he wants for just that chain route. So
Yeah.
it's difficult for them to conclusively finish this game.
Even with those defensive masteries and on top of the tenacity he's getting from the Merc Treads, that chain CC is just so powerful.
Yes.
And meanwhile, there's no one really else to grab. Actually, he could grab pretty much anyone except GBM with his cleanse. So
Well, and Captain Jack with the scimitar.
yeah.
So that it is tough, but
Well, he could grab Captain Jet because
oh, look at this. Lichbane actually for Chaser now. He actually doesn't even have a jungle item anymore. That's a really smart change in the buy. Go for the Lichbane so you could just finish this game faster.
it gives him extra turret damage. It gives him execute damage.
Better dueling potential as well. Especially so he's just a 6-item Nidalee at this point.
However, if the game doesn't finish here, they're going to have trouble.
There's the engage on it. Captain Jack. Captain Jack cleanses immediately. Mad Life going in. And there's an equalizer. Not going to do a whole lot. And Che going to go down maybe in the end. Of course, Space actually spell shields the Nautilus ultimate. Is this a turnaround? CJ moving forward. Double kill for Coco.
They have to go back to defend, but well played by CJ.
Now, can they get a Baron is the question. 70-second death timers. CJ has so much damage.
They probably could, but they have to keep someone back. I would imagine Helper with his teleport to defend the base.
So scary because the backdoor threat is so real from Chaser.
Yeah.
He can kill something incredibly quickly.
Well, the saving grace is that the mid lane inhibitor is coming up. Oh, they see them.
They know they're there, but as long as they distract from the Baron, that's all Jinair needs to do. They're just buying time.
Well, clear out the pink wards.
Who is going to stay back? I mean, Coco could stay back.
This is a saving grace for CJ right now. Everyone is at 6 items on Jinair Green Wings. They do not have room for extra pink wards right now.
Yep, they
so
don't.
Ambition can get that flank now if he can.
All right, they got to go for this. All right. If they want to do it, they don't know that Rise is... Oh, they actually... This could be absolutely game-changing. Because they're not going to commit to the kill, and that means CJ gets a Baron for free. They didn't poke in. Even though they had wards in a ring around the outside of CJ's base, they're just too scared to actually commit to this. So Jinair kind of faltering down the stretch right here, but CJ using that late game damage. I mean, Coco has a GA right now. There's probably not a lot of ways that Jinair can actually fight this Rise.
Wow. They're going down towards the Dragon Pit, but there's no dragon to be taken there.
Corki is a black cleaver now.
Weird.
That is super weird.
I think it may be the CDR, the 20% CDR you get from the black cleaver. I think might be big.
Jinair wants to pick, but there's no dragon coming up yet, so they probably shouldn't face check this. Ambition is there. They can't see him. They see him now. They're going to go for it. Twisted advance. Ambition gets caught. Ambition is dead. Equalizer lands, but how much follow-up is there? Trace gets punted back, trading 1-for-1.
Tank for a tank.
Yeah, tank for tank. So nice turnaround from CJ to make that work, but still. Dragon up in another 2 minutes, and that means Jinair is going to have to play for this one. All the inhibitors are back up for CJ. The Rise turnaround could be very real here.
They rose from the depths.
I don't know why you would sell your last Whisper for a Black Cleaver.
Technically, I think you get up to, what, 30% armor shred? No, Last Whisper gives you 35, doesn't it?
The problem is maybe you want that extra CDR, but at the same time, and the extra tankiness, I don't know if Corki's really going to do any damage any longer.
Well, he does physical damage with his Gatling gun,
yes.
and that allows you to stack it really quickly.
That does. He does it on, I believe, half-second ticks. So you could stack it across an entire team, but there's no one else to take advantage of it.
But
if there was another attack damage champion on this team, I could see it.
Right. Maybe he just thought it was the better buy than the last Whisper. That's honestly the only thing I could think of.
I mean, there isn't a lot of armor on CJ, so he doesn't actually need percent penetration. Possibly that's it. All right, here we go. TP, they're going to get onto Maokai. Maokai coming in with the flank. Mad Life pops his ult immediately, gets drawn in. I don't know if you want Mad Life there. Trace gets hit back again. Is there enough damage to clean up the tank line, though? And here we go. Jinair gets collapsed on. Jinair is going to go down. GBM falls. Captain Jack has to flash, and this is going to be a win for CJ Entis in the end. The beautiful collapse with the Sivir ultimate. Now, do they have enough to finish? And they should have the timers, especially if Jack goes down. Jack takes Helper with him, but that's not going to be enough. They can just charge through the mid lane. Big turnaround from CJ Entis.
Big smile, at least for Coco standards, on Coco's face.
And that is a tough loss for Jinair, but good patience from CJ, a very solid defense in the end. And I think that dealing with Mad Life that way in the last fight, they set him up time and time again to punt the Maokai back into his team. And that's going to be it. CJ will take the win in game 1.
58 minutes and 51 seconds.
Wouldn't be a Jinair game.
Wouldn't be a Jinair game. Well played by CJ Entis. They kept in